Welcome to the Path to Azure Cloud Growth webinar. We're going to give people a few more minutes to join. Good day, good evening, and welcome. My name is Renee Gallant-McKay, and I'm a Partner Channel Marketing Manager focused on the Azure solution area. Today, we're excited to share information to help you grow your Azure cloud business. But before we get started, a few housekeeping notes. Feel free to ask our presenters questions in the chat during today's presentation. And this presentation will be sent out via email to today's attendees within 5 business days. Now let's get started. I'm very excited to share with you what we're going to be covering. Michelle Faber is going to be covering Azure Solution Plays. She's going to talk about the market opportunity for Windows Server SQL Server migration to Azure, as well as Azure Virtual Desktop. Next up, we're going to have Jen Stammers, who's going to cover Azure and enablement tools. She's going to be talking about how you can address business and technical needs with our partners. And then lastly, we have Cheryl Haney, who's going to cover CloudAscent and digital marketing content on demand. You can identify revenue opportunities with existing customers using CloudAscent, and she will show you how you can easily launch automated go-to-market sales play campaigns. Now, Michelle, over to you.
Thank you very much, Renee, and hello, everyone. Bear with me for 1 second while I take control. And I have control, so let's dive right in. As I'm sure everyone knows, public cloud is seeing tremendous growth, and the pandemic only accelerated the growth momentum. When zooming in on that growth, as Gartner did in the press release referenced here, you can see that infrastructure as a service and desktop as a service are seeing the highest growth rates. With an impressive 68% year-over-year, desktop as a service has really taken off during the pandemic. The 39% year-over-year Gartner sees with infrastructure as a service is at least equally impressive, though, considering that this is growth on a much larger base, growing from 59 billion in 2020 to a whopping 82 billion in 2021. As organizations have overcome whatever reluctance they may have had with moving business-critical workloads from on-premises to the cloud, it's also important to note that the CIOs and IT decision makers of these organizations have an enormous level of trust and confidence in Microsoft and Microsoft Azure. IDC serviced 824 IT decision makers, and 90% of them indicated that they feel Microsoft understands their technology needs. 94% reported that Azure meets their compliance needs very well. And of the customers running their workloads on mixed environments, 90% reported that Azure supports their Microsoft and non-Microsoft workloads very well and equally well. Many customers are still running a mix of public cloud services and on-premises systems, and they find it important that their cloud providers support a hybrid cloud environment. 88% of these customers indicated that Microsoft Azure provides a hybrid cloud environment very well. High customer trust in Microsoft and Azure means that partnering with Microsoft to help your customers move to the cloud puts you in a very strong position to help your customers along their cloud journey and win their cloud business. So we talked about continued high growth in public cloud spending, particularly in infrastructure and desktop as a service. And we talked about the high level of trust and confidence customers have in Microsoft Azure as their public cloud provider. Let's switch gears a little bit and zoom in on one of our infrastructure solution plays, Windows Server and SQL Server migration to Azure. Why would customers want to migrate their Windows and SQL servers to Azure? There are many reasons, and the value proposition for customers to migrate their Windows servers and SQL servers to Azure is incredibly strong. With cost savings and efficiency top of mind, migrating Windows Server and SQL Server to Azure provides customers the most cost-effective, frictionless way to move to the cloud. Intelligent security and performance features mean consistent and predictable workload performance, and customers can get the lowest cost of ownership by combining unique pricing options and extended security updates. Fully managed infrastructure and services take the pressure of management off of teams and free workers up to spend more time creating. While we don't have enough time today to touch on each and every benefit spelled out on this slide, I would like to highlight a few key ones. Spending less time managing servers that are running locally frees up time and IT resources to drive innovation and add business value. And this applies both to your customers' IT resources as well as to yours. One obvious and major advantage of running your workloads on Azure versus on-premises is the elasticity and scalability of Azure. It's very easy to add capacity during peak seasons and reduce it when you need less. And when you do, you pay only for what you use, just like you do for any utility, like electricity, for example. At the same time, though, you can also pay a low, predictable rate for always-on critical services. Managing your cloud costs is also easy with Azure tools that easily track utilization and follow cost savings recommendations. Another major driver for customers to migrate their Windows and SQL servers and run them on Azure is that it gives them access to an enterprise-grade server infrastructure without having to invest in their own on-premises servers and storage. And finally, security is a major driver for customers to move their critical workloads to Azure. At Microsoft, we invest more than $1 billion a year in cybersecurity and have over 3,500 global security experts monitoring and securing Azure. We also analyze trillions of signals from Microsoft services such as Windows and Xbox around the globe to identify new and evolving threats. Azure is designed with security at the core and provides customers with built-in controls and tools to meet their security needs. So why would customers want to migrate their Windows and SQL servers to Azure now instead of next year or the year after that? There could be many different reasons for this, of course, and these will vary by customer. But for customers that are still running Windows Server versions 2012 or 2012 R2 and or SQL Server 2012, one important reason will be the approaching end date of extended support for these versions. Microsoft backs each server version with a minimum of 10 years of support. 5 years for mainstream support and 5 years for extended support. And this includes regular security updates. We recommend upgrading to current versions for the most advanced security performance and innovation. However, customers that for whatever reason can't upgrade by these deadlines can still keep their servers secure by migrating them to Azure, and by doing so receiving 3 years of free extended security updates for Windows Server 2012 and 2012 R2 and SQL Server 2012, only in Azure. And this obviously is a major compelling event for many customers to migrate their 2012 Windows and SQL versions to Azure before these deadlines. And for SQL Server 2012, this deadline is right around the corner. If you don't have any experience yet with migrating on-premises servers for your customers to Azure, you might feel a bit daunted by the prospect of getting started. If that's the case, I'd encourage you to have a look at Azure Migrate, which is free to use right in the Azure admin portal. With Azure Migrate, migrating Windows Server and SQL Server is easier than you might think. If you're not familiar with Azure Migrate, please have a look at the available resources linked here at this slide. So we talked about Windows Server and SQL Server migration to Azure, which is an infrastructure play. But as you recall, at the start of my presentation, I mentioned that Desktop as a Service is also showing incredible growth. And with Azure Virtual Desktop, Microsoft also has a very strong Desktop as a Service offer. Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop, AVD, provides a secure remote work desktop and apps experience for a hybrid workplace. It provides exclusive access to Windows 10 or 11 multi-session, an optimized Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise experience, enhanced security and simplified management to spin up and scale out Windows desktops and apps in Azure within minutes, right from the Azure portal. So again, the question, why now? Why would customers want to migrate their desktops to Azure Virtual Desktop now and not sometime later? Well, the pandemic certainly was a massive driver for many customers to do so over the last 2 years or so. And even as the pandemic or the worst effects of it at least seemed to be subsiding in many parts of the world, it left a lasting effect on how companies and employees think about remote work, and or at least having the ability to work remotely if circumstances require it. But of course, pandemics aside, there are also other reasons and business needs that can be addressed with desktop virtualization. Virtualization helps companies to provide more secure access to their data and organizational resources, to comply with industry regulations, for example, financial services or healthcare, or think about government entities, to address employee-specific needs like bring your own device. It offers them flexibility and agility to effectively manage an increasingly elastic workforce. Think about short-term employees or contractor or partner access to corporate resources. And can also be very useful to support specialized workloads. Think about design, engineering, or software dev and test, but also for running legacy applications, for example. In closing, why would you as a partner want to be able to offer your customers both a managed Azure Virtual Desktop service, as well as the ability to migrate their Windows and SQL servers to Azure? Well, in addition to running standard Office applications, many customers will also want to access their line of business applications through their remote desktops. And these line of business applications often use a SQL Server database. Migrating both the desktop as well as the line of business applications and the corresponding SQL service to Azure ensures an optimal performance and end user experience. So partners offering both services add more value for their customers, unlock additional revenue opportunities, and can leverage the incredible growth in the desktop as a service market to also further accelerate their Windows Server and SQL Server migration business as well. Obviously, to be able to compete effectively in any market, including this one, employee retainment and skilling is going to be crucial. And that is my segue to hand over to our next speaker, Jen Stammers, to talk about Azure enablement tools. Jen, the floor is yours.
Thank you a lot, Michelle. Hi. Hi, everyone. Bear me a second and take control. My name is Jen Stammers. I'm the enablement lead for Americas, part of the global partner enablement team. And today, as Michelle said, I'm going to take you through our enablement programs and skilling programs that you can leverage to understand and be able to build and deploy on Azure. So before I get into it, next slide. Yeah. Before I get into it, I wanted to take you through a few industry trends that have sort of guided us and allowed us to build the programs that we're offering today. So first off is the Great Resignation. You've probably all heard of it by now, but it's in August 2021, there was a survey that gave that 73% of 380 employers in North America had a difficulty of attracting talent. Now that is 3 times more than the year before. And 70% of this team still believes that this difficulty is going to keep on happening throughout this year and next. Now, the main reasons that we find this trend is due to COVID, of course. And then, but there's not only that, it's also, poor wages or benefits that the companies are offering. Now, this trend has been rising in the last few years over and over again. So companies have the need to do something about this, to attract and retain this talent more. Another trend that we found is, of course, our remote and in-person work. We've all had this. We're all suffering this today, working from home, going to work, to the office. Since the pandemic, this has, had a huge pivot. And but however, 73% of employees still want this flexing working environment. But the downside to this is that it's created a kind of fatigue. That's the next trend. And 67% of our employees still want to have sort of this relation in person. So it's becoming a kind of like an adaptation where we've been working from home, and it's been good and great because we have this flexibility, but it's also been bringing a lot of virtual fatigue, where there's a 70% of increase in no-shows in our virtual events. This is coming from you, from our partners, from our customers. It's created an environment where people just can't be that much online training or attending events. So it's a twofold thing. So it's the plan and the focus has been more towards a hybrid model, which everyone's going into. And then last but not least, there's from an accelerated business growth, there's been a study from the Burning Glass Tech Report that's been called After the Storm, which predicts that the labor market will have a 15 to 18 million new jobs over the next 5 years. This is huge. It's something that's a huge acceleration. And with these new jobs, we need to ensure that the talent is properly skilled and upskilled. Again, all these trends are defining and redefining how we are structuring our programs and how we are creating environments which are easy for you to consume these programs, this content in different shapes and forms. So moving on to the next slide. So having said that, we've designed all our training very highly in line with our new Microsoft Cloud Partner Program, which has just recently been launched. One of our main pillars in this program is skilling. And within this skilling vertical, let's say, we have a vast amount of different kinds of programs and training facilities for you to leverage from. So you've got the OnDemand. So this is digital skilling basically on Microsoft Learn, which includes the exam preparation for certification. We've got lots of online events and hopefully soon to be, more in person and hybrid, depending on the region and what's happening around the world. But these are huge flagship events that Microsoft hosts on a yearly basis, quarterly basis, or even some of them monthly. So this is Inspire, Build, Ignite, and Azure Cloud Weeks. I'll be talking a little bit more about these in a few more slides. We've got a scheduled delivery. So we've got virtual training days, which is a great way to consume content on your own pace. Microsoft Learn Cloud Games. This is a great gamification sort of experience where you can learn as you kind of challenge yourself and other colleagues. And then your Microsoft certifications and practice tests, these are the forever Microsoft certifications that have been recognized, and it's a great way of acknowledging and recognizing the technology that you've just acquired, the experience that you've just acquired. The exams are not easy, but the recognition is huge. And then you've got the strategic depth skilling. So we've got partner practice developer workshops, sales enablement bootcamp. So we've put a lot of focus and attention in our sales particular content because we don't believe that it's only all about being technical. And then our technical workshops and hackathons, which I'm sure you've all experienced before, but hackathons is a great way of coming up with a challenge and really developing and deploying maybe an MVP or something and implementing all the skills that you've just learned from the previous skilling, any program that you've been doing. So moving on. So the main portal where we have everything to offer specifically for Azure is our Azure Partner Zone. So here in this zone, you don't only get all access to all our enablement programs, but you also can subscribe to the partner newsletter where you get the continuous latest information about our events, our new services releases, our benefits as a partner, You can find the latest partner news. You can learn about Azure programs, which we're continuously having new and Michelle took you through some, and we'll hear more about it in the future presentations. And then you can also join the Azure partner community. The solution categories are Innovate, Migrate, Enable, and Specialized. And this is how it's been split and how you can access this different content to whatever you need to. So moving forward. So our virtual training days, I mentioned it briefly before, but this is one of our main tools that really helps individuals that want to learn about Azure get into that technical training that you need. So even if you're a developer, an IT pro, a partner, an educator, or even a business, someone in the business space, the Microsoft Virtual Training is really designed for your growth. So it goes into deep dive. So you've got virtual events. It's designed for the career growth, but it's also exclusively focused on improving your skills. So there's weekly events. So this grows on each other to grow that skill and gain that confidence. So you can go from trainings that cover Azure fundamentals and data and AI fundamentals, all the way to going into migration, or even leading into integrated analytics with, for example, Azure Synapse. So it takes you through the whole journey of Azure, and specifically in Azure, because today we're discussing Azure, but we cover all solution areas. But talking about Azure, it can take you through the whole journey, and you can select at what point of the journey you want to join, where you want to join, and what skill you want to acquire at your own pace. And then, of course, if you're interested in Microsoft 365 or Dynamics or Power Platform, you can also access those too. We've also focused a lot on being able to make this accessible for all. So we've got closed captioning for 20 plus languages, and accessibility tools keep on increasing in all the programs that we're running. Another great program that was launched last year and it's become a great success, is our Microsoft Cloud Weeks. So we've got these for all solution areas. They're exclusively for Microsoft partners. They're solution focused. They're 5 days of blended learning, 2 hours per day. So we've ensured that to minimize people's time. You know, going back to what we were saying before with the virtual fatigue, we really don't want to run these events that are just ongoing online and really doesn't, by the end of the day, you're not really learning anything. So we've condensed all the content into 2 hours. It's offered in multiple time zones. So regardless of where you are in the world, you'll be able to accommodate that to your time zone, and it's delivered live. And you can select within 1 week, 7 to 10 tracks. Which really gives you that flexibility to go down the path that you really want to go. If you're in the Azure Cloud Week or the business apps, or we also have security, but specifically for Azure. So far we've had in May alone, 55,000 unique learners coming from this. And we're offering certifications because it does prepare you for certification for that specific track that you're attending. So we've got new events coming in August, so keep an eye open for these. Moving along. As I said before, we're also having a huge focus on our sales programs. We do believe that beyond technical, there's a lot of need to understand the product from a selling perspective. But beyond that, these programs are also designed and delivered from a psychological perspective. It's interesting. I've attended these and I'm really liking them. I'm not technical myself, but when I join these, it really makes you understand not only the product and how to decompose the product and sell it and have that discussion with your customers about the product from that perspective, but it also gives you the psychological point of view of how to understand and read signs and discuss and create need and want and really be able to accommodate and have that conversation at that level. So I truly do enjoy these. They're not just about the business aspect of selling the product. There's whiteboard discovery sessions, which are really interactive and really allow you to create that journey with the customer or the person you're having that conversation with all the varieties. You have CIO pitch decks. and guidance on engagement and impact summaries. So it's a really engaging, interesting program to join if that's the path that you want to, if you're coming from a seller perspective. And right now, currently for Azure, we've got specifically for the Azure SAP area, for Azure Apps and Infrastructure, and for Azure Data and AI. Now, in every one of these slides, as you can see under it, there's a link. I forgot to mention in the previous ones, but there's more information in each one of these programs on this link that you can access and just explore more about them. So moving on to the next one, we've got the Azure Learning Journeys. Now these journeys we've specifically created them for now, only for these three areas. If you click on the link, again, as I said before, you can access the Migrate one, so Windows Server and SQL Server, Linux and open source databases, and SAP on Azure. And then you have Innovate, so it's more about the modernizing .NET and managed databases, or DevOps with GitHub, which is one of my favorites, to be fair. And then you've got Specialized, or Internet of Things. So on the right, you can see an example of how you can create these journeys, and it will explain to you where to start, what selection of what content you want to consume next. Are you more in that migrate space, or are you more in that innovation space in your journey with Azure right now? And you can just click and select and choose your own path and go up to all the way to certification, or wherever you're deciding to take it. And last but not least, we've got our Azure certification exams. Now these are really, we've had them from the beginning, and certifications is something that everyone strives to have as many as they can. But we're trying to specialize them and really create that focused on the certification that you achieve once you've done that exam. So we've split them into these 4 sections. If you click on the bottom, you'll be able to see exactly what certification you can achieve and what you need to do to get there. But just for everyone to know, all of the programs that have been discussed so far, or the majority of them, do have a large part of certification prep. So Azure Cloud Weeks, for example, are certification preps. The Azure Journeys will help you prep for certification if that's what you decide to do. The virtual training days will do that too. So it's always good to know that if this is your end goal, to get a certification, work your way back to understand what you need to do to get there. Azure Fundamentals and Azure Data and AI are pretty straightforward, but then you start going into the engineering spaces and other spaces, and you need different kind of skills and hands-on experience. All these programs can offer that at different paces or different formats, whichever sort of suits your need best for wherever you are. So that's the so again, on the bottom you can see that certification, and you can you sign up and take the exam and hopefully pass it. So that's it for me for now. Please check the links and good luck in your enablement journey with Azure. And now passing on to Cheryl Haney, who's going to take us through the CloudAscent and digital marketing content on demand. Thanks very much.
Done. So as mentioned, I'm Cheryl Haney, and today I'll be giving you a high-level overview of CloudAscent, as well as a comprehensive overview of digital marketing content on demand, as well as a demo. So starting with CloudAscent. So what is CloudAscent? This is available to all partners on Partner Center at no cost, and it's intended to help you identify existing customers who are ready to buy now. CloudAscent is a set of machine learning models that do prescriptive targeting and marketing for your customers. It shows you high propensity customers, and then it shows you where you can leverage. The goal is to be able to make you aware of immediate sales opportunities so that you can target the right customers at the right time and reduce your customer churn. We want to help you understand when your customers are moving to the second or third workload so you can drive targeted campaigns and capture that business. So the high propensity models are built by working with a third-party vendor to collect data on these customers. This involves web crawling, pinging of the domains in order to get information on your customer's technology profile. Additionally, the modeling includes publicly available sources such as Dun & Bradstreet. We then pair that with the Microsoft internal data, such as the subscription, the transaction information, and the win-loss information. All of this feeds into the modeling. So we have two different models for each product, an account fit model and a buyer intent model. The account fit model is the firmographics model, which looks at the size of the customer, the win-loss factors, and their install base, and then it does a look-like to our top SMB customers today. We're looking to see which are buying Microsoft products and which look like those customers. We layer on top of this the buyer intent model. And this is the customer's online behavior, things such as, are they downloading white papers? Are they blogging? Really, what are they doing online that might indicate that they're going to buy Microsoft products in the future? And we segment those into 4 layers. So we have Act Now, Evaluate, Nurture, and Educate. So at the top, you see the Act Now segment, which is based on high propensity and intent signals, which means you should be having targeted conversations with these customers. And then as you move down the list, the engagement can be more of an educational or nurturing approach. So this is really just a high-level overview of what this offering is, but we will be including a link to a full demo of the platform in the deck today. So we highly recommend you watch that so you can understand exactly how to make this information work for you. And now I'm going to move on to digital marketing content on demand. From this point forward, I'm going to call it DMC just because that's quite a mouthful. So let's just first start with the pain points that we've heard from partners. So we talked to partners before this program was even developed to find out, what they needed. We wanted to know what their pain points were, where could we help? And what we heard was that partners really struggled to find the right content at the right time. You may have experienced this where there's multiple different content libraries. Sometimes you find something that you find very useful, but then that content library goes away or it moves somewhere else and you're not necessarily sure where to find that. And then even when you do find a content library that's working for you, pulling together a cohesive campaign can be really challenging because oftentimes it's just, one piece of content here, and then you have to do another search and hopefully you find another piece of content that's going to help support your marketing and your efforts. And then managing multiple social media accounts can be quite daunting. And it's, there's several different ways to go at that, and maybe you just choose one, but this basically, we heard that partners wanted to be able to utilize all the different, social networks out there to them, but it was just too much to manage. And then finally, tracking ROI on social media can be challenging as well. And that brought us to DMC. So DMC is an automated marketing engine, which provides you with pre-packaged campaigns that are set up in anywhere from 4 to 6 or 4 to 12 weeks. And each week includes content for you to share via your social networks. So your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Twitter. We also have content for your blog, as well as we include emails typically every other week. So not only are we giving you the content to share and maintain that social presence, but we're also helping you to nurture your current customers. And then in addition to that, we also have gated content. So we're helping you to generate net new leads as well. This is just a high-level overview of some of the campaigns that we have available in the platform. So today we're mostly going to focus on Migrate Windows SQL Server, but we also do have a lot of additional content. Some of it's here, everything in bold here would be found in the platform, as well as some additional campaigns on Surface and nonprofit as well. And finally, we don't just offer the content in English. We have quite a bit of content also available in Dutch, German, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. And now I'm going to go into a demo of the platform. And if someone could just let me know when they can see my screen, that would be great.
Yes.
Okay, thanks so much, Renee. Okay, so the first time that you log into the platform, this is the page that you're going to see. This is going to take you through an onboarding process, and it's intended to get you started off on the right foot without sort of getting to that main dashboard and struggling with how do I set up my account and how do I find the content. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Get Started, and I'm not going to spend too much time on each one of these questions, but basically we just ask you a few questions about your business, They're going to help you to identify the right product areas and the right content. And then you'll be, given this opportunity to subscribe to a few different product areas. So you can see I've already subscribed because this is my demo account, but it would appear this way for you. You would just click on subscribe, click on next, and then you'll have the opportunity to update your profile information. So this is really important that you get this updated because we do have some co-branding within the platform. So you're going to want to make sure that you update your information here, as well as upload a light version of your logo, as well as a dark version of your logo. That will ensure that for the co-branded content, your logo actually will appear depending on whatever the background is that we're placing it on. And then also your banner, you'll want to make sure to upload that as well, because that's going to be what we pull into every single email that you send out through the platform. And then we're going to ask you about this weekly update email and whether or not you want to receive this. We highly recommend that you subscribe to this because it's not only going to keep you informed on the campaigns that you've already launched and when they come to an end, but we also include information on the latest campaigns that are available, and we do update the campaigns regularly. So it's just a nice way to get that information. But even more importantly, month over month, we continue to improve the platform, whether it's just simplifying your overall experience to make sure that this is this very easy to use platform for you, or improving or adding additional functionality or integrations. So we are constantly working on improving this experience for you. And a lot of that is very much based on your feedback. So if you have questions or things that you want to tell us, like I wish you did this, or I wish you had this type of content, or I wish that you connected to this network, please do reach out to us and let us know, because we are always listening. And then you'll update your profile information with regards to your social media accounts. So here's where you can make those connections. You can connect your email, and then you'll also be able to connect your blog. If you find that you are trying to go through and make these connections and you've forgotten a password, no worries. You'll always have the opportunity later up here in the top right corner to go to your profile and update this information later. Clicking on next, you'll then upload your contact lists. We very much recommend that you have segmented lists, so that depending on the content or the sales play content that you're sharing, you're targeting the right set of your customers, and you're not necessarily just sending all of the emails to all of your customers, because then you run the risk of them starting to opt out if you're kind of bombarding them with information that's not appropriate. And that's the last step. So now you'll load your dashboard, and here we are. So you'll see at the top here, we have product areas. This actually, by the time this demo goes live, you will actually also see that there will be campaigns listed here as well. So you'll be able to quickly jump right back into the campaigns that you've launched. But for today, we're going to click on View All. It'll take us to the different product areas you can subscribe to. You have filters over here on the side, and then it will also take you to the full list of all the campaigns. As you can see, this list is incredibly long, so we highly recommend that you probably start with your language filter to get to the content that's most appropriate for you, and maybe go through the product areas, solution areas, business types to then drill down a little bit further. So today I'm going to actually go ahead and select on Migrate Windows SQL Server. And when I click on that, you can see that there's a high-level overview of what this campaign is about. So if you see a campaign title and you're not necessarily sure if it's exactly what you're looking for, you'll be able to get that high-level overview here. Then you'll click into View Campaign. This will take you to the main campaign page, where the first time that you're here, this button would actually say Start Campaign instead of Manage Campaign. Again, this is my demo account, so I've already started this. You'll click on that and it will ask you a few questions. It will ask you whether or not you want to manually post this content or automatically post this content. So automatically posting the content means you can just select all the social network accounts that you want to share all this content to. You'll select your email list, and then it will automatically post for you week after week. However, we very much recommend that you select the manual option. It takes just a little bit more time, but you'll be able to do a full preview of all the content that you're going to share, as well as customize the pre-written copy, which I'll show you in just a minute. Clicking on Next, it takes us back to the main dashboard. I'm actually going to go back to week 1, and you'll see that on week 1, I have each week has its own title and has its own description, kind of talking to you about the content that you have to share, as well as the content that's intended for you. Typically on week 1 of every campaign, we're going to give you your pitch deck. So you can download that, customize it, add your solution, whatever it is that you need to do to make that pitch deck yours. And then in addition to that, the other types of content that we'll have for you will be videos that are related to the specific sales play, or sales guides that are going to be, help you with your conversations with your customers. So this is really, we try to bring everything that you need to be able to not just keep your social active, but to also really help you with your sales enablement as well. So I'm going to go ahead and click into Tuesday video. One thing to note here, you'll see that I've already posted this content, so that has the posted button right up here at the top. If you don't click on Start Campaign, you'll be able to see the content, but you won't be able to click into it. So it's just something to mention there. I'm going to click on Tuesday video. It'll take me to this this page where I can preview that content. Some of the content is really just a link, so you'll click on the link, it'll open in a new window, and you'll be able to preview that, whether that's third-party thought leadership or infographics or white papers, ebooks, whatever it is that we've made available for you to share. You'll be able to preview it that way. And then the next step is going to be to select your networks. And actually at the end of the month, we'll also be lighting these up automatically for you. So any accounts that you've already connected here will automatically be selected, and you can deselect them. So right now, and the reason for that is exactly what I'm about to show you, which is where you have to go through the process of clicking twice on each one of these in order to be able to make that selection and then move on. So we just really wanted to remove the need for multiple clicks here, and just make it really easy for you to get straight to the content. And then scrolling down, you'll see that as I select each of those networks, the pre-written copy becomes available for me. So this is pre-written for you, but it is fully customizable. So we really wanted to give you a place to start. It's always easier to edit than it is to sort of start from scratch. So take this content and make it your own. Use your brand, speak in the tone that you are used to speaking in with your customers. And then finally, scrolling down, you'll see that right now I have an error message here at the bottom because this time has actually passed. So I'm going to go ahead and select a future time, and you can see now in the bottom right-hand corner, the confirm button has lit up. So that confirm button will be great if you've skipped any step, and just so that that might happen. I also want to point out that I'm going to try to schedule this content. Actually, sorry, I can't do that. Let me go back because I've already started this campaign and I'm on week 9. So let's actually go to week 10. I'm going to choose this Wednesday video. You'll see I can click on this to preview. I won't go through the process of all the social networks, but you'll see that I need to choose a later time. Now I've done that, but it's also giving me an additional error message where it says that I actually have to post this next week. And that's because currently I'm on week 9, but this is week 10 content. So week 10 can only be shared in a very specific window of time. We've done this so that basically we don't run the risk of having you take a 12-week campaign and share all of that content in 5 days and sort of burn through it and really kind of overwhelm your social networks. The idea is really to keep them active without necessarily just burning through all the content. And so once again, you'll see that now this confirm button is lit up. I'm going to click confirm, and now it's scheduled to post, and it will take me back to the week that I was scheduling. And now you can see that content is scheduled here too. So obviously when it's posted, it'll say posted, and when it's scheduled, it'll say scheduled here. So you'll be able to, if you get interrupted, you need to come back to the campaign, you'll be able to quickly and easily see where you left off and be able to continue scheduling that content. So you don't have to, week 1, you can schedule it, for the week that you start, week 2, and so on. You don't have to return to the platform each week to continue scheduling your content. So I'm going to go back to the main dashboard by going up to the top and clicking on Digital Marketing Content on Demand. And just a few things I want to walk you through on the main dashboard here. So we have a calendar, and this is actually going to show you that high-level overview of the days that you've posted or scheduled content to share. And then you can also look at the available content that you still have to schedule based on this calendar. So this might be an easier way for you to identify which content you still have and you want to schedule. I obviously have a ton of content available to schedule because this is my demo account and I have far too many campaigns running at the same time. We very much recommend you don't run more than 2 or 3 campaigns at the same time, just to, like I said, keep your social active and nurture your email, your customers with those emails without bombarding them too much. So finally, and also just really quickly, you'll be able to click into this and actually get straight to that content so you don't have to look at this and then go find the campaign and schedule it that way. And then we also give you some high-level reporting on this main dashboard on your number of posts and leads, and compared to last month. You can also go through your reach and engagements here on your social. And then at the very bottom here, we have featured campaigns, and this is typically going to be our latest content. So as we add new content, that will appear here for however long until we have another set of content and it eventually bumps off this list. Scrolling back up to the top, we also have some more in-depth reporting that we just rolled out recently. So this is going to give you your activity by posting. You would click on the different social accounts. I won't go through each one of theirs. That process will actually be sped up here in just a couple weeks, so you won't go through that sort of delay. And then you'll be able to scroll down and it will give you the information on that post, the reach, reactions, comments, and shares. And then you could do the same thing with emails. And then we also have the lead score summary, and this is a really exciting report. You can really use this to, keep an eye on your current customers in the moment and see, what customers are just sort of in the awareness phase. They've maybe clicked on one email in the past 6 months or so. Maybe they're opening a few emails within a 6-month period of time, and they start to move up to consideration. And basically, as they become more engaged with the content that you're sharing with them through your emails, they will continue to move up this list. And when they get to the targeted intent phase, that's really, again, where you're going to probably want to start having more targeted conversations, or, and really like more personal one-on-one conversations with that customer, just to make sure that, you're catching them at the right time and you don't miss out on that opportunity. And then finally, this is also where your net new leads will show. So you'll be able to see how many you've captured. You have some date ranges up here at the top. You can also look at this just by the product areas that you want to focus on, or by specific campaigns that you've launched. And then as you click into this content, you'll see that down below, that's where you're going to see all the different customers. That's where you'll find that list. And you can also export that right up here at the top. Contacts. I want to make sure to pull this up so you'll be able to see your net new leads. They'll show up here in your contacts. You can then add them to the different lists that you've created, and you can create new lists from here as well. And then a few last little housekeeping items, just so you know where to go to find information. Top right corner, this is where you're going to be able to find your profile information. Click on edit. You'll be able to edit anything here, add additional logos if you didn't have them. You'll also be able to go to your networks, click on edit, and you'll be able to connect it to additional networks here. And then finally, you also, the top right corner, frequently asked questions. So if you have a quick question, you are probably going to find the answer to that right here. You can also contact us through this area as well. And again, like I said earlier, we very much encourage you to tell us what you think. How can we make it better? What are we missing? Especially content-wise, tell us what you're looking for, and we're definitely listening. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Renee.
Great, thank you so much, Cheryl, for that very exciting demo of the new platform for marketing content on demand. So I'm excited to take over and come right back over to our slide selection. Give me just a moment while I get there. Just about there. Great, thank you so much. So we heard from Cheryl, we saw that great demo there, and I just want to bring up a little bit about a program called Azure Migration and Modernization Program, AMMP. So we've just covered some of the key sales opportunities for Microsoft Azure, as you heard earlier. But what do you do if you're just starting your migration practice? What if you have an opportunity to shift a large data center or workloads hosted around the world? And what if it's particularly complex? Well, through the Azure Migration and Modernization Program, you can meet customers wherever they are in their cloud journey and help them move forward with confidence, from planning the move to making it happen successfully. And when you nominate your customers, they'll be able to access self-guided resources, free migration tools, step-by-step technical guidance, and training. They'll also get help finding a specialized Azure migration partner to work with you to ensure your customer's migration is successful. Now, how do you get started with this? You can nominate your customer for the AMP program below, or you can find out more information about how to become an AMP partner yourself. So now we're here at the end of our presentation, and you heard from Michelle Faber about the solution areas for Migrate SQL Server and AVD. So we've got some key links there to help you with that portion of your guidance. We also have the go-to-market sales plays that have customer-centric solutions to help you transform and accelerate your sales. We heard from Jen Stommers, who talked about all the sales and technical enablement training opportunities available for our partners, virtual training days, Cloud Week, the Partner Sales Acceleration Program, the Azure Partner Zone, certifications, and enablement guides, all super key important information to help you with your path to Azure cloud growth. And then lastly, Cheryl covered the CloudAscent, which is just a great resource to help you see and identify your SMB customers that are ready to buy now, which represent immediate sales opportunities. And then you saw this very engaging demo from DMC on the new platform to help you easily launch digital campaigns to your customers. So I want to thank you to our speakers for all that information today. And I want to thank our partners for attending our webinar, and we hope that we gave you some very actionable guidance to help you grow your Azure cloud business. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.